Hi, Lori.
Hi, Eileen.
Thank you for agreeing to meet with me on Zoom and talk about your experience in using the dialogue and perhaps how you've, adapted it in your own way, um, and some of the other ways that you might dialogue as well. Um, it's really, I like to think of it as kind of like downloaded this open source tool, um, and we each take the tool and apply it in our own unique ways.
Yes, I have found that the way these things unfold, it works for somebody and that's great, but maybe it won't work exactly that way for you. And, I guess I have to say I was a reluctant dialoguer because I am so quiet and silent usually. And so I would just in my head talk. But then that led to journaling, and that led to um, sending journal entries to my therapist, who thankfully received them and received them warmly and built my confidence to that if my written word has value, maybe my spoken word has value. And then also that whole time, continuing to witness it working for other people
Yeah, that's
and
really helpful.
seeing their lives change.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would quietly, with whispers or acknowledgments, mostly gratitude, having awareness of something and having gratitude, that was huge. And then
Yeah.
forgiveness too, being able to forgive others,
Mm-hmm.
stop blaming and complaining kind of thing. Those were all huge things that happened with dialoguing. But the scariest thing is then what would happen after the dialoguing and then actually having to say the truth that I just discovered from within by
Ooh,
dialoguing.
that's a powerful one, and we're going to get to that. I want to
Yeah.
unpack that a little bit.
All right. Well, then that's enough for that question.
Yeah, well, no, I want to start by let's kind of just review a little bit about what is your recollection of how you and I met? How are we each in each other's lives?
Yes, as administration assistants. Well, I didn't have that role yet. I think I was still a file clerk or something, which was even a bogus, like, find a label for her and put it on her, and we'll just use her as a gopher. That
Yeah.
a file clerk, I guess, when we met in 1990. And I'd already been working there for 4 years at SAIC in San Diego. And I'd been working in that group for 2 years when you joined. And yeah, it was just a really interesting unfolding because you were this rocker chick and, all the guys drooled over you. And I mean, I know you didn't see it
I,
like that, but that's the way I saw it. And nobody's drools over me. So I don't know. We just kind of hung together for who knows why. I mean, you were a single mom and I was in my 20s dating somebody. Who
yeah. I,
why? Who knows? Who knows?
yeah, and I recall, I was the new kid, and everybody was all established, and I come in to be the administrative or executive assistant for I don't remember the titles, but for the whole programs that we worked for, with the director. And I felt, um, like I didn't fit, and um, I was, I was, I liked you instantly, and I wanted to be your friend, and yet you were very cautious at first, and rightfully so. Who is this new kid? And we have been friends ever since, and we've been on this journey together, and it's just really been, um, how many people can say that they've had friendships for this long, for this many decades,
Yeah.
and have that history?
Especially adult friendships. I think
Yeah,
childhood friendships can definitely create that really strong bond from the get-go, but for an adult relationship,
yeah,
that's very unique.
yeah. And so I can honestly say that I very much value our friendship, and to bring you into this. It started back then. I remember sitting down in your office and saying, I don't even know how to share this, but I want to share this. And it was my major experience in 1991, where I still had to come into work after this happened. But, the experience of being taken out my window and meeting these beings, and, the whole story that I've talked about in other places. But you quietly listened and took that in, and I didn't feel judged, and you were really honest about, I don't know, I don't know anything about what you're talking about, but wow, it seems pretty
It was,
powerful.
I mean, I didn't doubt you for a second. You were terrified.
Yeah, it was an extraordinary experience that I've been integrating ever since, and other
Mm.
experiences too. But that was, just like midstream of my journey with these contact experiences, and then we'll jump ahead to uh, the time period where I kind of got the series of downloads with this presence, teaching me about this tool called the dialogue that would help us to come online with more of ourselves, and to be find our coherence with ourselves, and with the universe or the cosmos, to give the very nutshell short version of what the dialogue is. Um, so when I did share it with you, when it started to formulate and I started to write about it, what is your recollection of when you began to practice the dialogue, or use the tool or experiment with it?
It's only been in the last 2 or 3 years. I mean,
Yeah,
it was a long time for, I mean, I'm very, like you said, I was tentative to meet you. I'm tentative to do anything. And it's not so much skepticism as it's just like, well, what's over there?
yeah,
That unknowing that we're all supposed to be getting used to. It's terrifying.
yeah. The
Um,
unknown, yeah, the big unknown. Like, do I
yeah,
really want to traverse this territory? Do I really want to be honest with myself?
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was when I began. I feel like it was when I began, here in the Olympic Peninsula of Washington, when I began to share it in groups, and you were helping me and supporting me with that. This was in person before, obviously, before the whole COVID thing hit. Um, so as you began practicing this, and you were touching on it in the beginning when I asked you when we first started talking, what so dig down a little bit, or drill down into what you felt was the most challenging part of applying this tool.
Oh, just hearing my own voice. I'm fine to be silent.
Yeah. What sorts of feelings did you have, in speaking out loud, speaking truth out
Oh,
loud?
just that negative voice of, you know, and I still get it, somebody else says it better. You're not the first one to say this. And I have to keep reminding myself, I'm not the first one, but the way I say it might hit someone's ear differently than the way the person I heard say it. Like maybe they wouldn't get it if they heard them say it, but they'll get it if as long as I feel anyway, as long as I don't take credit for it, that I heard it somewhere else and this is how I understand it, and crediting that person when I can. Because then maybe that person I want to talk to wants to go work with that other person, and then that just blows up their expansion. That's my goal for the world. I want people to find their teachers. And if I'm not your teacher, I'm going to point you to somebody I think might help you.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. So I feel like, so what I'm hearing you say is that I think as women we're mostly taught to kind of diminish ourselves into what I say doesn't matter, and other people might say it better, and I can certainly relate to that. And so it's kind of a way of finding our voice, and at the same time finding truth, right? Because we find that a lot of the times we speak in scripts, of what we're supposed to say. This is the thing you say in this situation, and this is how you behave in this situation. So I feel like with the dialogue, that the reason why it was given to me in this way first is to find your voice by yourself first and begin to strengthen that. Like, what is here? What am I feeling in this moment? Honestly, what is here? And then that kind of gets you oriented to the present moment, and you begin. Um, it was shown to me that when you speak your truth out loud, it's like a tuning fork, and your body starts to sync with your voice, and that's when the coherence begins, and that's when resonance can occur. And so you get that feedback from your body um, as you take it out into the world. And what we do in the co-op groups is practice being authentic, and speaking authentically about what we are actually feeling, even if it sounds unpleasant, or, oh gosh, hope this doesn't trigger anybody. That's another one. If you speak your truth, it triggers everybody. And so we've learned to be quiet with our truth, and eventually just subdue it. So um, I know I relate to what you shared about being uncomfortable speaking out loud, and kind of the shame for me, the shame that would come up with, well, this is actually what I feel. Sorry, it's not. It's probably not acceptable, but this is how I actually feel. And then gradually strengthening that voice, uh, so that we can identify more with the truth, and the authentic self in reality and actuality. So
Yeah, I think the people pleasing and the yes man comes in a lot for me there.
yeah,
So
yeah,
used to just going along because it's easier. What are you doing? Because I really don't want to put effort into anything.
yeah,
What are
yeah,
you doing? I'll do it too.
yeah. Also, the this relates, I think, to that. For me, it was, I don't want to. My need to go deeper, than the superficial scripts and stuff of the world has always challenged me, um, because I wasn't very good at it. I've never been good at the kind of the more superficial chit chat of the world, and so
The truth teller trait of
yeah,
a truth teller.
yeah, exactly, and that's exactly right. It's where this is a practice of sacred truth telling. It doesn't mean that we go, I hate your dress. It's the ugliest color. You should never wear that dress. It's not that kind of truth. It's our truth, you know.
Mm.
And to not deny it, to notice if we do deny it, right? Initially, that's kind of what happens, is you go,
And
oh,
that's
look,
the dialogue.
yeah,
Yeah, that's where the dialogue comes in because you hear it and you wait, did that come out of my mouth? Like, that's
yes,
not me. What? Who am I telling people that that's me? That's not me.
yeah. So what do you find, what did you find and are you finding is the most rewarding part of since you started the dialogue? How does this affect the people around you in positive ways that you've seen?
I think I get more respect for my boundaries that I've set.
Hmm.
So I feel more respected, and I've been able to let go of the need to, well, I would used to call it taking care of others, but really it's more just minding my own business
Hmm.
and waiting to be asked rather than offer.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's all that's coming right now.
Feeling the response from a deeper place within you rather than going to the scripts.
Exactly. Yeah,
Is,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, what do I say to appease you? That's the codependent.
Keep the balance, keep harmony. That's the female wounding. I feel is that we've fallen into those patterns of taking care of everybody else, but at the same time, you're very gifted at um, helping people feel comfortable. You know, like you're starting your own business about providing comfort for people and safety and nurturing.
Right.
And so isn't it interesting that that is your gift at the same time
Right. But I had to let go of all that physical comforting of others.
with massage and yeah.
Yeah. And to shift into that, to make space for that comforting to shift into another phase or another aspect. It's like I couldn't hold on to both though.
Right. And so I bet.
In the way it was, it's gonna morph. I'm still gonna take some of that with me, but I can't take all of it because there's no room for the new stuff.
Right. And before
Transformation.
it could exhaust you, right?
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
because you're outside of yourself acting things out.
Trying to fix people rather than
Yeah.
trying to just comfort them.
Yeah. Yeah. And listening to your own guidance when you have hands on people, or you're in the process of your work, it's more of a connected, authentic space where you're being honest with yourself. Therefore you're creating the space for this honesty to be present. You're inviting that honesty from others. I've witnessed that with you. I think you surprise people sometimes with your directness and your honesty.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely what's needed right now, is to
Mm-hmm.
start to break the spell. So I see the practice of the dialogue is breaking the spell with yourself. And this is what the messages have said, that we're going to take you into this process of um, reigniting your emotional nature, your feminine nature, and therefore your feminine technologies that have gone dormant as a result. So um, we each have kind of this responsibility now. It's not something that we dread doing, it's something that we become to do our part in breaking the spell that humanity seems to be under, where we're mostly beside ourselves instead of in ourselves, where
Kind
we're
of being drug along by the conditioning, by the script,
right and just
all the
accepting it.
things we thought were real. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I, in friendship with you and also in conjunction with the groups that we've been doing, it's amazing to watch and hear from people that are practicing this emotional awareness tool, um, that when they're in these, maybe difficult circumstances, you stay more present with yourself and your own authenticity and speak from that place instead of, which always keeps us connected to um, just the perfect words coming through, or the perfect um,
Resonant. Because that is one of the things that happened to me. It just popped in. Is that I didn't know what to say. And so I'm like, well, how do you feel? I'm like, all right. So I'd sit there and moan basically whatever I was feeling, and that turned into a solid grounding tone. So it's almost like how when you're mad at somebody, you have to go off by yourself and cuss them out, in the car or something before you can actually come back and have a conversation. You have to let that energy go.
Move, yeah.
Yeah, move
Move and
out
shift and
so that
change. Yeah.
you can actually get to what's underneath it.
Yeah. I love that
It's the
practice.
same thing with the moaning. It's yeah.
That the moaning practice. I wanted to talk about that. It's like when you first told me about that, I thought, oh, that's just this is one of the unique ways that it can manifest. I
It
think.
feels really good to get that resonance in your diaphragm going.
Mhm.
And then you're doing it and it starts to feel good, and then it's holding it, and then it's like, oh no, I'm almost out of breath. Oh no. And then the process of having to inhale again. But then every time it's easier to find. And because you're working your lungs, you can hold the note longer, or change it, or it'll start to change
Yeah, and
on
that's
its own
breathing
even.
too. That's
Yeah.
the deep breathing because you're sucking in the breath and then letting it out. And okay, I don't have words right now, but here's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
that.
just heard recently another scientific study about the power of deep breathing.
Oh,
Get a
so
drink. Wait. Let me get a
okay,
drink so you
okay.
can edit this out.
No, I probably
I've
won't
been
edit
waiting
it
and
out.
waiting and waiting.
No, it's okay. Um, Here's a good question for you. So, as we started to bring this into community, I referenced our Kawak group. Kawak is the Mayan glyph for community and gathering and reflecting. A lot of other things too, but that's part of what the Mayan glyph is for Kawak. So, how valuable has that been to you to practice on your own and then show up in community and practice the same thing with others who are practicing?
That group has been great because it's so intimate, and it just makes it easier to talk than, like, say I go to clubhouse rooms and get up on stage, and even though you can't see me, you can just still feel all those eyes on you,
Yeah.
even even when it's just audio. Um, but no, I did practice there, and I did gain a lot of empowerment in using my voice by going there, because it's like I could test things out. Okay, are they going to think this is crazy? I'll throw that on the table and see if they pick it up or go, let's move on along down the buffet line. Um, so that, yeah, it's been good for practicing, and just seeing other people struggle and how they struggle. And sometimes it's like, oh, I'm so glad I never had to struggle like that, or oh, I know that struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so either way, you can have gratitude that you've been through that struggle, or gratitude that for what who knows, maybe you'll get that struggle down the road, but for
Yeah.
now, that hasn't been a struggle.
Yeah. And just the mutual support for those who are practicing as well. And what one of the things that I find amazing um, is just to hear the wisdom start to come through people when they find their voice. You included. Everyone in the group is encouraged to just speak honestly what is right now in the moment. And then others will share, and then we'll find resonance with it and share how it worked for us. And but always just really honoring that sacred space of truth telling, really.
Yeah, and I think dialoguing too. Yeah, the truth telling thing. Oh, I just lost it. What does it do for you? The dialoguing. Oh, it can shift your dialoguing can shift your perspective very quickly.
Yes, excellent point.
Like if you see it written word, I have trouble going back and reading what I wrote because I can remember enough of it where I don't need to go back and I can just make my adjustments from there.
Mhm.
Um, but wow, when you hear stuff come out of your own mouth that catches your ear and you don't want to present yourself in the world like that, dialoguing is huge.
Yeah, and the way it's been shown to me in relation to that is we're attuning our body instruments, which were designed to be in coherence with all. Um, it's this truth will just what did I used to call it? Tourette syndrome of the soul.
Yeah.
And I know you relate to this because we've had several conversations
I'm
about
still doing it.
yeah, it's like blah, did I just say it? You know, it's like, was that appropriate? And then you start making the comparisons, you know, of was that good or bad, or um, was that I know
Yeah.
that wasn't the script. Oh my God! And then what? The vulnerability, being vulnerable, being willing to be vulnerable, which demonstrates to others that it's okay to go to those spaces. It's okay to tell the truth.
Even though it's terrifying and takes courage you don't even know you have.
Right. And that, the coherence is then with, let's call it the higher self. So you're attuning to that higher light and that higher force, that higher being that you are, but it has been oppressed or suppressed here. That's
Mm,
not okay to be that. That's weird, right? To feel these things and to give voice to these things.
right.
So we strengthen each other in that way. So, why is it important? If it's important to you, why is it important to you to continue to build a conscious community with others?
Oh, so it's more comfortable to walk among the public. I mean, I'm looking to help anybody that wants to change
Yeah.
and have a kinder heart. I don't know what that looks like, but
But you
uh,
are being that now. You are
yeah.
being that now.
Well, and that's what I finally realized. It's like it's be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
So, oh, I wish, that guy said hi to me. Well, you start saying hi more. I wish
Yeah.
that person had smiled at me. They kind of had a frown on your face. Well, you smile more. I mean, you
Yeah.
do what you wish everybody else would do.
Yeah.
And if you wish people would stop doing it, then that probably means you're doing it and you're not aware, or else it
Yeah.
wouldn't bother you that they're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's the triggers. If we have what I learned through doing the dialogue is that when I feel triggered by somebody, it's like, oh, that's not about them. It's about me. Well, how can I reconcile this? How can
Yeah, because
I?
if it's all about forgiveness, if somebody's bugging you, it's, you haven't forgiven yourself,
Yeah,
or else that wouldn't bother you.
it wouldn't bother you. No.
And I know there's stuff now that people do, and I just go, oh, rather than really go off on the judgment train on them or something.
Yeah, I heard a
How can they
comedian.
be like that?
I heard a comedian say the people in the South when they are in judgment of others, they call it out and then they say, "Bless their heart."
Yep. I
I
know
thought that
that's a
was so funny.
backhanded
Yeah.
thing. I know somebody that does that, but they're sincere about it. But I
Yeah.
chuckle inside because they
Yeah.
don't realize what they're really saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luckily, that wasn't a Southern trait I picked up from my mother.
Okay. Well, anything else that you can think about in your practice of the dialogue?
Not off the top of my head, but it was all baby steps for me. and it just unfolded how it unfolded. And that was, I think, part of me learning to forgive myself and give myself space to practice some self-care. It's not easy to walk here. It's pretty scary. I've, realized within myself that being overly protected and sheltered has had the same effects of people that have had really rough and hard childhoods. So that's just a whole new perspective for me. It's like, how can nothing have happened to me? But I can totally relate to people that have had horrible things happen to them. Yeah. And that's a very strange conundrum of the world.
Yeah.
Our existence here.
That's that, that empathic understanding of we're all human and we're all connected, whether we're aware of it or not. So that empathy is a glorious gift.
If you want your mistakes forgiven, then you need to forgive other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
But then there's those many out there who are too afraid to make the mistakes to even try.
Yeah. Okay.
Look, I'm choking you up.
You definitely are.
It's a gift.
Yeah. I just wanted to make the note too that I've heard you say this, and I've heard many others say it, that one of the hardest parts of the dialogue for me and for others I've noted is that to remember that you can do it. It's the remembering, oh yeah, I can dialogue this out. I can.
Yeah, that's true.
If I'm feeling this, any discomfort or reactions, or I'm emotionally the emotions are heightened, and I'm disconnected from the awareness of what these emotions are trying to tell me. That I can just sit down and say, I'm here, I choose love, which is the foundation for beginning the dialogue. And what I'm feeling is this. And you're not there to impress anyone. You're not there to fit in. You're giving voice to what is here right now. And I've noticed over the years that I can very, very quickly go, oh, that's what it is. Okay. Thank you. Got it. And then I can be more present with that.
And one more big thing for me too about dialoguing is understanding what the definitions of emotions really are. The very first emotion I started out where I actually had to look up the definition, which I thought I knew what it was patience. To me, patience was, saying what you needed to say through gritted teeth, be it either anger or a smile, your jaw still clenched. But really, patience is the ability to remain calm during an adverse situation. Those are two very different definitions.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I was then able to start living the second definition once I knew it, because then I knew the truth and how that wasn't represented in my lifestyle.
Yes, and I am witness to that. I am witness to your wonderful blossoming and trusting in yourself and your gifts, your contributions, your ability to be present with other people and to speak your truth. I get to watch that happen in all of your interactions. So thanks for your courage to be here and to practice this.
Absolutely. Thanks for dragging me along.
Silly girl. Okay, Lori, thanks so much for meeting with me and talking.
Okay. Bye.
See you